Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia, where we love making wreaths. I have Louie with me today, and in today's video we are doing a wreath called a pancake wreath. Have you heard of this? It has been kind of growing really rapidly over the past maybe year, 2 years, and today we are going to do it in a farmhouse theme. We are going to be using this sign as our centerpiece, and it's going to be gorgeous. Stay tuned. Here are the supplies that I'm going to need for this wreath, starting with a roll of Deco Mesh that's 10 inches in width and 10 yards in length. You're only going to need one roll. In my case, my Deco Mesh is actually 10.5 inches, but half an inch here and there, not a big deal. This Deco Mesh is so super beautiful. It does have foiling. It's a decorative mesh, so I decided that the best way to cut this is going to be a wood burning tool, and of course you're going to need a tempered glass. I get the glass on Amazon, so I will link that and my wood burning tool in the description box below. You will need 12 pipe cleaners, 3 types of ribbon. My first ribbon is going to be 2.5 inches. It's wired. Second ribbon is 1.5 inches wired. My third ribbon is only 1 inch in width, but you can use 1.5 inch for what we're going to do with this. For decor, I'm going to be using these sweet little florals, and I'm going to be using just the flower part. Floral wire of your choosing. This one's 26 gauge. I recommend the strongest you have and in the closest color to your sign. For our sign, I'm going to be using this black truck farmhouse sign that is 8 inches in diameter, and it is metal. It does have 2 holes to attach the sign to our wreath. For our base, I'm going to be using a metal 14-inch wreath ring. To cover the back of the sign, I'm going to be using this placemat that's 14.5 inches in diameter. Let's attach our pipe cleaners, and we only are going to use 12 of them because we're going to put 6 on row 1 and 2 straight up in the middle. A few twists, and we're going to twist it towards the inside of the wreath. I'm going to go all the way around on the inside row before we get started on attaching the pipe cleaners on the outside row. I have my 6 pipe cleaners on the inside. Now we're going to go on the intersection, and you can either go on row 2, 3 or 3 and 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go on row 2, 3, and I'm going to attach it to row 3. My wreath base is done. I have 6 pipe cleaners on the inside row, on row 1 and 2 attached in the center, and I have 6 pipe cleaners attached to all the intersections on rows 2 and 3, and I tied those on row 3. I have my wood burning tool heated up, and now it's time to cut our Deco Mesh. We're going to be cutting our Deco Mesh into 30-inch strips, and we're going to need 12 of them. 10 yards of Deco Mesh is the same thing as 360 inches. We're going to take that and divide it by the 12 pipe cleaners that we attached. So we use up the whole roll. We can cut our Deco Mesh into 30-inch strips. My cutting mat is 24 inches, and since I'm going to start measuring from the left side, I'm going to use this half, 5.5 inches to make my 30. And all I do is put the ruler at 5.5 inches right underneath my cutting mat. Let's get my tempered glass, and I like to put it vertically to cut. If you're like me and have pets, especially kitties, make sure that they are safe somewhere or your door is closed, because when using this heating tool, it's no joke. I'm going to just straighten this out. Now I'm measuring off my 30 inches and I'm ready to cut. I am going to cut in between 2 rows. And as you see, I'm kind of going slow, but not too slow, because if you stay too long, you're going to melt a little bit more than you want. Roll the Deco Mesh up and put it to the side. Here we go with the next one. Super easy. And now I'm going to cut my 12 strips, and I'll be right back. Next, we're going to cut our ribbon, and I'm going to start with the little one. I recommend cutting this at 22 inches. I am going to be cutting at 23 inches just because I find that this particular ribbon frays on the end. So I'm going to use a little 1/2 inch to bend it, and I'm going to need 6 of these. I have the 6 strips I need. If you want to do dovetails on your ribbon, this is the time to do it. I'm not going to be doing it for this particular ribbon, so I'm just cutting the ends. For our 1.5 inch ribbon, I'm going to be cutting this one into 12-inch strips. I'm going to need 12 pieces. Let's cut the ribbon off. When you have your 12 pieces, oh, inspection already. That quick, huh? The minute I opened the door after I cut the Deco Mesh is when he decided to pop in. Folding the end in half, we're just going to cut little dovetails. And the same thing on the other side. Next, I have my 2.5 inches, and this one is also going to be cut at 12 inches, and we're going to need 12 of these, 1 for each pipe cleaner. I have all my ribbon, and now I'm going to do the same thing, fold the ends in half and make little dovetails. It's time to bring our wreath together, and unlike any other wreath, we're going to work outside in, and we have to because our inside row is going to be on top of our outside row. So we're going to start with the outside row. Take my first piece of Deco Mesh, and I like doing this on my cutting table because if you don't know where the center of your Deco Mesh is, this is a great way to do it. I go right there in that little corner and start collecting my ruffles. You might have also noticed that I did not fold an inch in the beginning. I do like to do that on regular ruffles, but because of the way we're going to display this ruffle, there's really no point. When I'm done collecting, and by the way, look how adorable this is. We're going to connect it, and I'm going to cinch it down, making sure that it's nice and tight. At this point, what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 of the ends and overlap them. That's why I did not fold that edge over in the beginning, because we're going to work with our wreath base and overlap the Deco Mesh so that we have a beautiful ruffle. Our next step would either be to continue making ruffles going all the way around, or we can complete this ruffle. So that's what we're going to do. My 2.5 inch and 1.5 inch ribbon, both of these are 12 inches in length. Going to overlap the 1.5 inch over our 2.5 inch. That way the gray peeks out. I'm working on my cutting board so I see exactly where my center is, and I'm going to gather it in a V form. So not just from both sides, I'm gathering it from the bottom, making a little V, and that is how I'm going to attach it to my pipe cleaner. We can twist this up. I'm not going to be attaching anything else to this ruffle, so I'm just going to fold over that tip and fold it back. One ruffle is done. We're going to continue doing the exact same thing, going all the way around. Let's make our next one. The outside row is all done. The next thing I like to do is grab those pipe cleaners from the inside and pull them out, because now we're going to be attaching our next set of Deco Mesh and ribbon to them, making my ruffle just like we did with the outside row. When you start attaching ruffles to the second row, that's when you're going to see the wreath being filled in. A lot of people have contacted me that they were concerned that one roll of Deco Mesh is just not enough. And I know I'm using black Deco Mesh here, but hear me out. This Deco Mesh is going almost to the next pipe cleaner. So that means I have Deco Mesh here, and another ruffle that's going to overlap this area. And so this is going to get filled in really nicely. Let's attach our ribbon. And at this point, I'm going to leave my pipe cleaners alone because we're going to add a little bow with the orange ribbon right on top. Right now, I'm going to complete all the ruffles just like this, and then we're going to get started and make the little bows that go on top. I have my 23-inch ribbon. You can make 22 if you have really good quality ribbon. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold about half an inch, a quarter inch, the ending of mine, and I'm going to do that to both sides because I'm a little worried as far as how it's going to hold up. Now we're ready to make our sweet little bows. The easiest way to do this is first we're going to have an awareness ribbon. I like to do this with the ribbon facing down, meaning this is the back of my ribbon, and I'm going to have one of my hands underneath the ribbon, the other hand underneath the ribbon facing the opposite way, and I'm just going to twist it so we can have the awareness ribbon. Once I have done that, I'm going to measure 4 inches. And when I have my 4 inches at the bottom, put a finger right in the center where the ribbon is crossing over. Pull this to the top and to the center, just like this. I'm going to turn it upside down and collect it in the center. Oh man, this is going to be some serious cuteness. After I attached my bow, twist the pipe cleaner up, cut off the excess, and then fold it back. When it comes to my tails, I'm going to turn them in a little corner. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, and I'm going to have a sweet little bow like this. This pop of orange was so needed on this wreath. The bows are all on, and they are stinking adorable in my humble little opinion. So now we're going to take care of the center of the bow. I'm not going to leave it just like that, of course. We can use something like a vase filler, maybe some cute berry picks. You can even do little buttons, especially for a wreath like this. You can definitely do buttons if you have some matching buttons that would look really good on here. Or you can do little florals. I thought these florals went with our wreath, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a bit of hot glue, and I'm going to attach the flower right in the center. The little nub of the flower, this part, I put it behind the bow. So I came from behind and filled in the center. That way you don't have to cut anything off and risk having the flower fall apart on you. Here's a close-up of our sweet little bow. I thought the center would work really well with all the kind of fall foliage we have on our sign. The last thing we're going to attach to the front of the wreath is our sign, and I think this is turning out so pretty. So I'm going to grab my floral wire. I'm going to double mine as usual because I'm using a 26 gauge from the Dollar Tree. So I just measure off about 24 inches and double it. Putting my floral wire through both of the sign holes, and I'm going to twist it a few times in the back. Now it's time to attach. Let's flip our wreath. I'm just going to do one twist, a quick check to make sure the sign is where I like it to be. And there's plenty of Deco Mesh to hold this 8-inch sign in place. Twisting my floral wire, wrapping it around the wreath base, and that is how I lock it in. Now that that's taken care of, I'm going to peek to see where my top is. Grabbing my jute cord, I'm going to wrap it around row 2, measuring to make sure that I'm going to have enough jute cord to hang, but not too much where it's going to peek through the top of my wreath. Make a few knots, cut off the excess. We're going to pull the jute cord to the front. And this is very important because we are going to cover the back. I have a placemat. I'm going to take 3 zip ties, and I'm going to connect in 3 places, no particular places, as long as they're nicely spread out. This way you have access to the back of your wreath and it's nicely covered. Just like this, we're going to zip tie, cut the tail, and make sure the nub is on the inside of our wreath. Second one and our third. If you need to fix anything in the back, you still have access to that. Now we're going to flip, and now we're going to make sure all our bows look beautiful. Poof them out, make sure all the ribbon is laying out nicely, and just like this, our pancake wreath is all done. I hope you enjoyed this pancake wreath tutorial. I love how sweet this one turned out. Very farmhouse, very chic. I think it's beautiful. If you are new to wreath making and are not subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing for more wreath tutorials. For those returning to this channel, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here, and we will see you all in our next video. Bye-bye, my sweet friends. Mwah! Do you want to say bye to everyone? Mwah! Bye, guys.